Now it's time for Teacher Talk, James's thoughts and insights into teaching international students.
This week, I want to talk about non-native ESL teachers. So that is teachers whose first language is not English. And they come from different countries, perhaps Brazil or Mexico or Argentina or Europe or Asia, and they are teaching English. And I think it's wonderful right off the top. I think it's fantastic that these people have mastered the English language to the point where they're confident enough to teach. And, I'm a bit disturbed sometimes when I see advertisements out there stating, they're looking for a native English speaker. And sometimes I say, what is a native English speaker now? I mean, if you go across Canada, we speak with different dialects. And if you go across the United States, wow. I mean, some of these, places in the South, some of them in Texas even, where, I've traveled to a lot, they're dialect, the way they speak English is very different. So, when they say native speaker, what are they speaking? And usually they're thinking about a white person. That's the image. And that's wrong. And that's really absolutely wrong, because we're here trying to communicate in English, and we need teachers from all parts of the world communicating their cultures. And that's really important when teaching, is that we're learning their culture. And the culture of using English in Germany versus English in California versus English in Prince Edward Island is all different. The culture around the English is different. And even you may listen to my podcast and say, what's James talking about? Well, yeah, I'm basing my teaching on the English culture that I have grown up in, and that's what I'm comfortable with. So, non-native speakers, non-native English teachers bring in to the classroom a whole new perspective. And I think as students, you should really open yourselves up to learning from them, and don't get stuck in a stereotype. As directors and school owners, you guys have a wealth of amazing teachers out there that are available to you if you change your thinking a bit. And there are also some governments out there, China, who demands that the people must come from 7 countries that speak English. Obviously United States and Canada and UK and Australia. Those countries, they must be from those countries. Well, they won't accept a Brazilian teacher or a Mexican speaker who would be fantastic to opening up the culture, opening up their culture in China. That would be amazing. But China doesn't allow that, as a government doesn't allow it. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the issues around non-native English teachers. And there are a few out there, and these perceptions that people have. And I hope if you're a school director, school owner, academic leader, you take these in consideration next time you look at hiring teachers. Now, I've been hiring teachers for 20 years, and I got to tell you, I have seen all kinds of teachers. I have seen teachers with PhDs. I have seen teachers that have gone to teachers college and studied all the arts of teaching. I have seen people who have very, very little experience. And I can tell you that one thing that is the same across all of the ones that I've hired, all of the teachers that I've hired and I've felt that they were great teachers, was it didn't matter about the piece of paper or the education that they had. What mattered was, could they communicate with students effectively, and could they gain the trust of students to be an educator, not a lecturer, not somebody who stands up and tells students what to say or what to do or what to think, but rather gets the students talking, communicating, creating and sharing, I think, is also very important. I mean, I had a teacher come into work with me and as an interview, and she had created an amazing work, but she didn't want to share it with any other teachers. She had a great binder full of material, amazing material. I mean, her classes were fantastic, but she wouldn't share. And, as a school director, you want teachers to be sharing ideas because it creates more of a dynamic classroom experience for the students, and it creates more interesting workplace, if people are sharing. So anyways, I'm getting off track here a bit about non-native speakers, but these are qualities of teachers that it doesn't matter where they're from. If they can bring these qualities into the classroom will be great. And that's what you need to look for when you're hiring, not whether they're from Canada or whether they're from Germany or France, but whether they can actually teach and bring in content that is interesting and exciting. Now, some people say to me, yeah, but James, students, they want a native English speaker. That's what students want. I have never, in my 20 plus years of running schools, I have never had a student say they disliked a teacher because where they came from. I have seen students say they dislike teachers because of how they teach. Okay? And it never, ever have I ever said that I don't like this teacher because they're from Brazil. I've never heard that, or from Mexico, or from Japan, or from Korea. I think that is a myth out there, and I think that many students can learn more from teachers who are non-native speakers because they've acquired the language already. Okay, they have already gone through the process of acquiring a second language, and they actually can help students get to that next level, maybe better than an English speaker who, we never studied present perfect in our high school or grammar or classes or anything like that. I never studied present perfect until I became a teacher of English, and suddenly, I didn't even know it was called present perfect. So the non-native speakers have that advantage where they've got tricks and ideas to help you get to the next step of your language learning. So I think it's unfair to say that students only prefer non-native speakers. Another one is students want to learn from native speakers because they want to understand the culture. And as I said, wait a second, no, that's not true, because the culture of English has spread across the world. And it's not even a culture of English. It's English used in each country, and even each city and area is different than in other areas and cities and countries. So how Chinese use English and speak English is different than how Japanese use and speak English. And it's different from how Germans and French and Americans and Canadians and people from Ireland, the Irish, how they use it is all different. And so what English does better than any other language, and why it's so popular to learn, is that it really can bring cultures together, because it's a shared language across the cultures, and you need non-native speakers to help, non-native English teachers to help share that culture, share their culture, and open new ways and new doors into the students' minds and into the students' thinking. Lastly, the last point I want to make, and this is directed to directors and business people in the ESL world, and they say, I want to hire I don't want to hire a non-native speaker because, it's better to hire somebody who is white, an English teacher who is from Canada or America, usually young, good-looking. They want to hire this type of person. And I can tell you, I have fallen into that trap on occasion, where I've hired somebody because they were beautiful or they were handsome, and I thought it would work out. And I remember one specifically where it was a really handsome teacher, and I hired him to teach English. Blonde hair, blue eyes, good-looking young guy. And for the first week, the students were, especially the female students, were very excited and told me what a great teacher he was, blah, 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 blah. At the end of the month, it was a month, complaints started to filter in. He couldn't teach. He didn't connect with students. He was good looking. There's no doubt about it. But after the students kind of got over the good looking point, there wasn't much there that he could do in terms of teaching. And so, we had to replace him eventually. And I don't remember if I replaced him with a non-native speaker English teacher, but I would have if they could teach it. That's what I learned, is that while the marketplace seems to say, we need the white, Canadian or American teacher or English teacher, that is not necessary for you to hire those people anymore. There are great teachers out there that are non-native speakers, that are passionate about English, that want to share their feelings and share their methodology and share their story, because their story is so amazing. It can be so wonderful that it's better than the story of a kid from Canada like me who went to university, studied university, and then decided to travel and work and teach English. The story of somebody struggling from Mexico to go through high school, to travel abroad, to learn English, to come back, go to college, to go to another country and pick up a TESOL certificate and then teach abroad. That is a better story in many cases. And sometimes I think directors and school owners are closing the door on these people, and especially in some countries where the governments are forcing them to do that, you guys need to speak up and say, hey, there are great teachers out there. And I know that are non-native speakers that don't come from the big 7 countries. And I know, working with the Chinese market, that, man, I could have sent so many amazing teachers, and they're to China to teach, from Mexico and Brazil specifically, and the government wouldn't allow it. The government would not allow me to send those teachers to those countries, and it's a shame, because so many doors would open for the Chinese students. So non-native English speakers are, as long as they can teach, and as long as they can teach and connect and build the trust with the students, and trust is the key, as long as they can reach into those student minds and excite them and be creative and be inspiring, that's a great teacher. And it doesn't matter if they have a PhD, a TESOL certificate, or they're just walking in off the street, because that is what teaching is all about. And that is Teacher Talk for this week.
The Study It textbooks are the first ever completely digital and interactive English as a Second Language textbook series. Once downloaded, these textbooks do not require a Wi-Fi connection. Students and teachers can use them anywhere, anytime. Used in over 40 schools, universities, and NGOs worldwide. Study It is the future of English teaching. Visit www.studyitbooks.com for more information.